Hello guys, so as you see over here, I have made this video in order to review the structure that we saw in the first class. I know that probably you have many questions regarding the structure and how to use it. So that's why I recommend you to watch this video completely because I will go a little more into detail on how to use passive with simple past. It's really simple, it's really easy to use, but we just need to pay attention to the steps and how to use the structure. Okay, in the last class, we saw this explanation, right? That it says grammar focus, passive with simple past. As you see, when we talk about passive voice, I mentioned in the class that we have two voices in English. One of them is called active voice and the other one is passive voice. What's the difference between active and passive voice? Well, we are going to see them right now. When we talk about active voice, as you see over here in the presentation that I'm marking in yellow, it is used when the subject of the sentence does the action. We have an example over here. We have the sentence, my mom sang the song. My mom. My mom is the subject of this sentence. How do I know that it is the subject of the sentence? Well, because it is the person doing the action, okay? My mom is the one that was singing. Nobody else was doing that action. She was the one doing that action at the time in that sentence. That's how I know that it is the subject. And as you see over here, the subject is represented by the letter A in the example. And with the letter B, we have the object. And what is the object? Is basically what you have after the verb. So you will have the subject, that is the person performing the action. Then you will have the verb, that is the action that the person is doing. And then you have the object, that it means that, how do you know that you have an object? You can answer the question, what or who, when you have a verb. For example, I can say, what was my mom singing? That song. And that's how I know that is the object. That is the active voice. So remember, in the active voice, the subject is the person doing the action. We have a verb and we have an object. Really simple. But what about the passive voice? Okay, the passive voice, as you see right here in the presentation, is used when we focus, okay? We focus on the object of the sentence, okay? We focus on the object of the sentence, but not in the subject. We don't care about the person who did the action. We just care about the object of that action, okay? Or in other ways, the person, animal, thing that receives the action, okay? Receives the action. What do I mean by that? Like, for example, I can tell, I gave a present to my mom, okay? Or I gave my mom a present for saying something. Mind, this is the gift that I gave her. I gave something to my mom. This thing, the gift. And therefore, we care about this, not I given the gift, okay? We care about the object that the person receives. As you see in the example over here, we have that song was sung by my mom. If you notice, these sentences are the same. What's the difference? Well, one is in active voice and the other one is in passive voice. Then the first one, we have that the subject is my mom because she's the one doing the action. Then we have in the passive voice that we don't care about the person doing the action, but we care about the object of that action. And what is the object? The song. How do I know that the song is the object? Well, can the song perform the action? Or in Spanish, ¿puede el objeto hacer la acción? No, right? It can't. So in that way, I can know that my mom is not the subject anymore. She is called the agent now, but you will see it later on. But that song over here is basically now my subject. It's now my subject, but it's not doing the action, okay? With passive voice, we don't care about the person who is doing the action, but we just care about the object of the action. That is important to remember and to memorize it. Let's continue. So another way I mentioned in the class for you to understand passive voice is to remember this phrase. Something was done by someone at some time in the past. Something was done. A thing was done by a person in the past. Okay? A thing was done by a person in the past. So when it is important, as you see over here, to know who does the action, we use the word by. When we want to know who was the person who did a certain action. And over here in the presentation, we will see the structure as well. You see that when we form the passive, we normally are going to use the verb to be. If you remember what's the verb to be, but if you don't remember, I will tell you that is, and are, right? That's the verb to be. And after that, you use the past participle. If you don't remember the past participle, I recommend you to check it out, go to some of your old books, or probably investigate a little bit about what are the past participle. But in a few words, they are the third form of the verb, okay? The third form of the verb. Therefore, in some cases, you will find that the past participle is the same verb in the simple past form, okay? In the past simple, the passive is was and were because this is the past form of the verb to be. Then you have the past participle and the complement. We will see some examples over here. Right now we have these examples that we saw in the class, but let me go over them one more time. We have the first one that it says teachers. The teachers over here is the subject. How do I know? I said it is the person or they are the people doing the action. Okay, what's the action that they do? They helped. Okay, that's the verb. And who are the people that they help? The students. Therefore, the students are the object. Why? Because they are the ones receiving the actions of the teachers. Okay, they are the ones being helped by the teachers. Then, if I want to change this sentence into passive voice, it's really simple. The object, the one that you see over here in yellow, this one, will go to the beginning of the sentence and will become the subject. Then we will need to add the verb to be in the past, either was or were, the verb in the past participle, and finally, we move the subject at the end before the word by. For example, notice over here. We're going to mark it with a different color so you can see the difference. But right here, I have over here the students. If you notice, the students in the active voice, they are the object. But now they move from this place, if you notice, to this place. So now they are the subject. And in the case of the teachers, you see that the other change that we have is that we need the verb to be in the past. We include the word was. Was because it is the past form of the verb to be is. Then you include the verb in the past participle. And notice what happened with the teachers. The teachers were the subject in the active voice, and now they move to be the object. But they have the word by behind them. That is the thing that you should know. Basically, in a few words, you will move the object to the subject position, and the subject will move to the object position. That's one of the main differences. Second difference, you need to add the verb to be in the simple past form and the verb in past participle. That's another difference. And the third difference, I need to have the word by before the object at the end. Let's see the other example. My brother ate the cookies. Okay, you have my brother, the subject, this one over here, ate the verb, and the cookies that are the object. As you notice, now the cookies in the other sentence will move over here. So now they will be the subject, and you will see the cookies. You need to add the were, that is the past form of the verb are. Eaten, that is the past participle, by my brother. You see, they move the subject to the object position. We have all the three tenses with this structure. That means that we have the affirmative form, we have the negative form, and the questions. Notice that in the affirmative form is the one that we have seen. You have the verb in simple past, okay? In the affirmative form, you have the verb in simple past, And now, when you have it into passive voice, you will have the verb with the verb to be in past and the verb in past participle. Okay, past participle. Notice that over here, the verb walked and walked, made and made are the same. They don't change at all. Why? Because there are some past participle verbs that are almost the same in everything. Then you have the negative form, okay? And in negative form, what changes? First, you will have the auxiliary, okay? What's the auxiliary? In simple past is did. Did plus not. Or you can say didn't if you want to use the contracted form. You can say they didn't make and they didn't walk. And notice something important. When you use the negative form in the active voice, you don't need to change the verb, okay? You keep the verb as if you were talking in present. Why? Because you are using the auxiliary. But what about the passive form? In the passive form, the only change that you will see is that you will still have was and were, okay, was and were in the negative form, and you will have the word not, okay? So you will say, the cat was not walked by Ben, or sandwiches were not made here. That's the difference. But you can say wasn't or weren't, depending on which one you like the most. And now we're going to move on to the interrogative form. And as you see, the interrogative form is a little bit different in the sense that first we start with an auxiliary or we start with a question word. You have the first one that it says, did Ben walk the rabbit? Notice that right now we are using over here the auxiliary plus the verb in the base form. When I mean about the base form, I mean a form that doesn't have any change whatsoever. And over here, when I move it into passive voice, I will have, instead of did, I will have was, and I will have the verb in past participle, and as well, I will have again the word by and been, okay? The same happens over here. How did they make the cookies? And here we will change this auxiliary for was and were. Then we will have the subject, and then we will have the verb in the regular form. In the other case, in the passive voice, you will add the word, you will add where instead of the auxiliary did, and you will have the verb in past participle. And that is the definitions of the three types of tenses: negative, affirmative, and interrogative. If you have any question, remember that you can ask me at any time, either in the comments on this video or in the comments in the platform. Let's see some examples with active voice. So with active voice, as I said, we have just three pieces. Picture it in that way. We have the subject, we have the verb in the past, and you have the object. We have these examples, and we have my brother watched a movie last night, okay? My brother watched a movie last night. You see, my brother, the subject, watched the verb in the past, and the object, a movie last night. My dog jumped the fence. If you don't know what's a fence, it's like something that you put in a place so little things or normally children, they can pass from one place to another place. So you see, my dog is the subject, the verb in the past is jump, and the object is the fence. Then you have the subject on the next one, that in this case is Wilbert. Then you have the verb in the past that is walked, and the object that is his dog. Then we have the last one that is Dr. Pepperton invented Coca-Cola. And now we will see these same sentences into the passive voice. Pay attention and take a look. In the passive voice form, you notice that there is a big change right now, because over here we have a subject. We have was or were. We have the verb in participle. We have the word by, and we have the object. Notice this one. A movie was watched by my brother last night. What was the active voice? It was my brother watched a movie last night. What was the subject? My brother. What is the object? A movie last night. But over here we change it. You see that right now I put the movie at the beginning in the subject. Then I use the past form of the verb to be, that in this case is was, because I'm talking about just one movie. The verb in past participle, the word by, and my brother that was the subject that was over here Now we'll move on to the last part of the sentence. The next one. The fence was jumped by my dog. You notice the fence was the object before, and now is the subject, like you see over here. See, the fence was the object, notice the position, and now you find it over here. So now it changed the position. Was, that is in this case, the past form, as I mentioned. Jump, the past participle, then you include by, and then you include my dog. And notice that my dog is now over here. In the last sentence, my dog was over here. So the dogs were walked by Wilbert. The same happened. Wilbur moved from the subject to the object, the dogs from the object to the subject, and we included were and the verb in participle. And finally, Coca-Cola was invented by Dr. Pepperton. Probably you need to see the examples side by side to understand it better, so we're going to see a couple of them. And we have the next one. We have the pirates. Let me change the color so you can see it better. The pirates stole the gold, okay? The pirates stole the gold. I will mark the same things from the same color so you notice the difference. First, we have that the subject over here is the pirates. You notice that it's at the beginning of the sentence, but notice in the passive voice, the gold was stolen by the pirates. Now the pirates are the object, okay? And that's why we have it in yellow over there. We're going to choose another color for the next one. And right now we have stole some gold in the active voice. The gold is the object, but now notice in the passive voice version, now they are the subject. What is the other change? As I mentioned, the verb, if you notice that the verb in the first sentence right now is stole and is in simple past. But over here, we are going to have was stolen. We have the past form of the verb to be, and then we have the word stolen. We're going to use a different color instead of this orange to exemplify it. So, as I was telling you, we're going to go back to the yellow, and in the second sentence, we have the principal painting the school logo. The principal is the subject in the active voice, and in the passive voice, he is now the object, okay? He is now the object. In the case of this school logo, what is the thing that the principal painted? The school logo, that is the object over here. And now it's the subject in the passive voice. So you just change places. And the other thing that we need to notice is that right now in this sentence, the verb is in simple past. And in this one, you include the was and you include the verb in past participle. Next sentence, Jeremy bought a present. Jeremy, subject in yellow. Now Jeremy is the object in yellow. Next one, we have the object, and as you see that the object is a present, and now a present is the subject in the other sentence. The other thing, remember the verb is but. But is the past tense of buy. Buy, like for example, I buy some cookies, I buy a hamburger. Now the past form is but. And then you say a present was bought by Jeremy. And the same happens with the last two sentences. You have the doctors helped patients. The patients were helped by the doctors. My friend recommended many movies, or many movies were recommended by my friends. We're going to repeat them together. So the pirates stole the gold, active voice. The gold was stolen by the pirates, passive voice. The principal painted the school logo, active voice. Passive voice, the school was painted, the school logo, sorry, was painted by the principal. Active voice, Jeremy bought a present. Passive voice, a present was bought by Jeremy. Active voice, the doctor helped the patients. Passive voice, the patients were helped by the doctors. And active voice, my friend recommended many movies. And passive voice, many movies were recommended by my friend. And with that, we will finish the explanation of this topic. I hope this video is helpful for you to understand the difference on how to use this structure. And remember that if you have any question, any doubt, you can let me know either through the WhatsApp group, through the Google Classroom app, or either in the comments or on this video, and I will gladly answer them. I hope that this video has been helpful for you, and I will see you later on the next class. Bye-bye.